Welcome, everybody to Bloody Amateurs for the Call of Duty Challenges podcast here. This week, I've decided to bring on two American guests to the podcast. If you don't know who I am, I'm Nfinity. I host the Bloody Amateurs podcast every single week. But this week, as I said, I've got two American guests here. I thought I'd add some spice to the podcast. And it was about damn time that I brought on members of WestR here for this week. WestR, not WestR for Alicia, who yesterday tweeted that it was WestR. Let's introduce them one by one then. So first of all, we've got the main ER actually of WestR, Tom GRVTY. GRVTY, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Man. Appreciate you having me out here.
Yeah, no worries, man. I know it's early for you guys over there in America, so I apologize for getting you up for this, but nonetheless, I'm happy you're here. And then, of course, alongside GRVTY, we have Fenix, the head coach of WestR. Of course, anybody in Europe will actually well know Fenix for his role on Team Singularity last year as well in this exact same position. So, Fenix, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Got Tom GRVTY with me over there sipping on his coffee. Today is a good day.
Yeah, it is. It is going to be a very good day. I'm extremely excited to have you guys on this podcast. Of course, like I said, it was about damn time that I got on some members of WestR because you guys have absolutely rocked North American challenges. I don't think that's an understatement by any means. I mean, first throughout every single cup. The most dominant team across all three regions so far, and the only one to win every single cup in the regions. So it's really nice having you guys on. Now, as always, for everybody who watches these podcasts, there's a lot of topics to get through. And this week, even though we didn't have any Challengers Cups this weekend, which I think was a blessing for everybody, yeah, I think we all needed a break, whether or not we were casters or players. We didn't have any Challengers Cups this week, but we do have quite a lot of news to get through with all the Challengers announcements and such. So let's start off with surprise, GAs. Now, it's kind of interesting, actually. I'm really excited to get your guys' opinion on GAs because for the past few weeks, I've had casters and European players and analysts come on. But I haven't had the opinions of people who actually play and coach in North America, where GAs are ever so slightly different to what they are here in Europe. This week we had snipers and smokes added to the GA, specifically in Search and Destroy. GRVTY, I want to get your opinion on this one first. How is such a change going to affect gameplay over in Challenges?
I think it actually, I think it helps it a lot, actually. I mean, like the state the game was in before snipers and smokes were out was just, I don't know, it was literally just drop a smoke on your feet and run through it. Was the strats. was hit this and then drop a smoke on your feet and then one way the smoke, or literally just wait for a sniper pick or get lucky somehow like that. But now I feel like the game is definitely more like teamwork based in S&D, and it's it allows you to just like open up the map more, you know, and it's actual gunfights that you're getting in instead of just like fake ones through like smoke where you're like not seeing somebody. So
yeah, it definitely, I think it adds well, it removes a lot less chance from the gameplay, right? I think that was one of the key things is, especially with how glitchy smokes have been, right? They still are broken, are they not? If I'm correct, they still, sometimes you can like see through them.
Yeah, you can see completely through them if you're like on the edge of it and you can't be seen at all. So
yeah, that is, I think, part of it. Fenix, what's your opinion on this? Snipers and smokes, they're gone from Search and Destroy now.
I mean, it's the same boat as Tom. Like, when we both found out that they're getting GA'd, we were as happy as could be because I'm not gonna lie, half the reasons we lost S&Ds were because of snipers and smoke. So, like we literally, I watched when we played Triumph. Tom almost had Jordan General dead top laundry, and then Jordan just whipped the smoke at his feet and was gone. It's like that type of stuff shouldn't be able to happen. Like, people shouldn't be able to do that type of stuff to get away with their life. So, like, seeing those things go, I think at the end of the day will make us a lot better at S&D. And I think overall for the entire community, once everyone gets used to it, it'll make it easier for them as well. It'll actually make it enjoyable to watch, man, because no one likes watching someone one-way themselves. Like, I literally would hear Carlos go, he's one-waying, I'm doing it back. Like no one wants to watch that. That's not fun, man. That's not fun.
I mean, if they were fixed, right? Because there's some big issues with snipers and smokes generally, right? Obviously, as we've just spoken about, the one-way smokes. Sniper rifles, though, I mean, they're insanely broken in their current form, right? I mean, it's just the fact that they're such high damage. They're so easy to. There's aim assist, I think, in snipers, which is a first.
There's aim
issue as
assist.
well.
There's no
No
flinch.
flinch.
Like,
No flinch is the big one.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
if there was flinch, we wouldn't mind snipers because the moment you start shooting one, their gun would go everywhere, so they wouldn't be able to just pick you. Like now
yeah,
they
they
can
wouldn't be
literally
able
be
to
like one shot and
continuously
kill you.
hold one spot on you. Like if
That's
you're
Yeah.
playing
stupid.
Miami and I'm channeling top police window, like just looking down mid street, and I get first shots on somebody using a sniper, like he's still gonna kill me every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is one of the biggest issues in the moment. Obviously, as we said, flinch and such. Like there is so many issues with snipers that they kind of have to go. If those issues were fixed, would we want those back? Would we want smokes and snipers
Oh,
back?
I mean, yeah, 100%. Like I think
It-
I think snipers and smokes does add like a completely different play style to the game, and I think like I played CS back in the day. I played Valorant or whatever you want. Like
Yeah.
smokes help like an S&D type game mode, just because like it adds more tacticalness to the game.
If they
But
work properly.
yeah,
shouldn't be in
if they work,
respawn though. They should
yeah, I
not
don't
be in
think they should be
respawn.
in respawn
Smokes
either.
are
Though.
not good in respawn. Like it makes the game like way too fluky, in my opinion, when they're in respawn. Smokes, like even if they fix them, I still wouldn't want smokes in respawn. Like if I would just say, in my opinion, just keep smokes and snipers out this year and try to make them better next year. Because like I can already tell you, like as much as like I love the developer support we have gotten from like things like Tony Flame and those guys, like and women, like we, I don't think they're gonna be fixed. Like you could one way kind of last year, but it's like way worse this year, and I just don't think they're gonna fix it. Like I think their main focus is into the casual viewer, just like it has been the past few years. So I wouldn't get my hopes up of it getting fixed. That's why, like, people get mad that we take stuff out of the game, but like the game's unplayable and stuff like that. Like we kept like badgering our own S&D, and then I'd watch back the playbacks of our S&D. I'm like, oh, we just lost this round because some guy just one-wayed us. Like, what are you supposed to do? There's no aim assist on them. There's no bullet reg. There's nothing. So I just would prefer not to see them in this game again. Like maybe next game. This game, I just don't see him getting fixed. Like snipers, I'd be cool if they added flinch. If they added flinch and took the aim assist off the snipers, I'd be down to have snipers any barrel you want because it's actually going to take skill now. Like now, it doesn't take any skill at this current point in time. Like I can even snipe right now. Like it's a broken mechanic.
I mean, yeah, if Sam can hit some snipes, like that's how
you know it's gotta go, bro. You know it's
that's how
like
you know.
I even said I was dropping like 80 DM for him. Like this gun might need to go, man. It might just need to go.
Yeah, 100%. I think the game will get better as well. I mean, I think the one thing is we did see a little bit of the gameplay. Obviously, that GA was applied this weekend, so we did get to see, even though they were just essentially glorified scrimmages, we did get to see some of the gameplay of what Search and Destroy does look like. Of course, if you're in Europe, you don't get to see Search and Destroy anyway. But generally, we did get to see Search and Destroy gameplay this weekend without those snipers and without the smokes. It definitely did change a few of the maps. Checkmate Search and Destroy, I think, was probably the biggest one because obviously one of the big engagements on that map is inside the plane. There's literally always just sniper rifles, just pre-aiming the doorways and such. So it has changed quite a lot. And obviously, I think that the big thing is they will change as well as the weeks go by, as people get used to sort of gameplay and strats without the snipers and without the smokes on the map. And one thing I do want to add as well is I have allegedly heard that smokes are in the process of being fixed. That is in the pipeline, supposedly. So I don't know whether or not they will get added back in.
Listen, as long as you can't one way, and as long as we can get aim assist and bullet reg and smoke, I'm all for it. But the moment you go into smoke and you lose aim assist and bullet reg, it's chalked. Like it's chalked.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't
It needs to go.
Personally, I don't
like
even
that.
think like that matters though. Like with the aim assist, I don't think you should have aim assist in smoke. I think you
guess.
should like I just think like if you're in the smoke, you shouldn't be able to see your screen.
Yeah,
It should
just
be, it should literally it
that-
should just be
Well, they
it
do
should
that
be
in
like
what game?
pretty
Is it,
much like a
Apex?
flashbang, except just smoke effect. You know,
They do that in Apex.
maybe
with
you
the
can
smoke
see like
grenades on one of the
half
characters.
like
too.
half a foot in front of you.
Sorry, what did you
But
say,
it should-
Sam?
They do it in
Sorry.
Apex. Like, there's a player that has like a smoke grenade,
Yeah.
and he shoots it, and you can't see anything on your screen when you're in the smoke. Like the only thing you can see is the smoke until you get like partially out of it. Then you can start seeing everything again. So I agree that would make it. That'd at least make it fair. The fact that you can see everything around you still though inside smoke is what makes it not fair. Because a sub player can just sit in that, and Tom can't just run in that. Tom has to sit there and just stare at that person. Now he can't do anything. Like,
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
fact that they can literally see me like clear as day, and I can't see them
like
at
better
all is
than
like
you
the
can see
biggest
them.
problem of it. But if they fix that, the game is good.
Yeah, agreed. Right, then let's move on. That's Snipers and Smokes. They've been GA'd in Search and Destroy, and we'll see how the gameplay develops without them as the weeks do go on. We do have this week's poll. So for those of you who are sort of new to the Bloody Amateurs podcast here, you guys do get an opportunity to actually interact with us here on the podcast by answering a poll that's currently on my Twitter. So if you go over to twitter.com/InfinityBL, there's currently a poll up, and this week's question is going to be, which team has been the best so far? The options, just to be clear as to why I've chosen the options, they are the top 4 seeds globally in challenges at the moment. That's WestR for North America, Renegades for APAC, House Taff for Europe, and Dave & Co for Europe as well. If you do have another team, though, that you think is the best, which I doubt it, feel free to reply to the tweet as well, and we'll pick out some answers from there. So we'll refer back to that and have a discussion of our own of which team is going to be what we consider the best so far globally. I'm sure I know what these two are going to pick by the end of the show. We'll refer back to it later on, so make sure you guys go to that. Let's talk about some additions then to the CDL this week. We had FeLo joining the Dallas Empire, and we had Afro joining the London Royal Ravens. We'll start with FeLo because I think that's the one that is going to have more of an effect, if at all. So of course, for everybody who doesn't know, I think it was I want to say it's like Wednesday or Thursday we had the announcement that FeLo was joining the Dallas Empire as a substitute. Nonetheless, currently he's teaming with Draza, Decimate, and Nagafen in the Call of Duty Challenger scene. I think they're number 6 seed overall at the moment. What are you guys' thoughts here on FeLo getting picked up by the Dallas Empire?
I think FeLo's a good player. I mean, it's a definitely a good addition to that Dallas roster. Just like some more experience and a person that's always going to bring good vibes. So.
Yeah, 100%. Fenix, what about you? What do you feel on FeLo getting picked up by the Dallas Empire?
It's earned. Like Tom said, Tyler's a really good player, and they don't really need a superstar as a backup. They just need someone who's probably really good at S&D that can bring that prowess for them, because the players they have on that team can carry and respawn already. And Tyler's pretty good at this game, but I think it's definitely a good pickup. Plus, he'll be able to help them from the bench with their S&D and all that stuff as well. So, it's definitely something to keep in mind. He's going to be helping them while he's also playing himself. So it's going to be a good pickup.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the interesting thing is actually you talk about FeLo, right? I mean, he was part of that roster that ended up winning champs in North America last year in Challengers with that Triumph Gaming roster. So he has pedigree, obviously, and being an ex-professional Call of Duty player definitely helps. I think speaking about FeLo momentarily as well, there is potential for FeLo to actually have an appearance, right? Because he is North American. He lives in North America. So there isn't going to be no problem if they need him to come and show up for a Call of Duty match, that FeLo will get an appearance. Moving on to Afro with the London Royal Ravens, though. Very different situation. Now, I will sing the praises of Afro till the end of time. Afro is an extremely talented player. For anybody who's got to watch our community streams here on this Twitch over the past few weeks, you will be able to tell just how good of a sub Afro actually is. He recently gets picked up by the London Royal Ravens, but I kind of feel like this sub is a little bit more, I don't want to say pointless. It's just unfortunately not going to mean all that much in the grand scheme of things, because he literally cannot play for them unless he finds a way to America, which, given current situation, isn't
It's not going to be
gonna
easy to do. It's going to be hard.
It's not going to
Yeah.
happen. I mean, generally, right? The London Royal Ravens, they're in a sticky situation because Zero this weekend had to play from the United Kingdom.
No offense, that's what you get for building. I understand it's a team that's from London, but that's what you get for building a team of only UK players or only European players. Like, you should have thought in the grand scheme of things, right? Last year we didn't play on LAN at all, so you're like, maybe we should get a North American player, because Mad Cat had issues getting over here. Nasty had issues getting over here last year. And what do? They do the same exact thing this year, and then they're so upset that they're having issues. Like, you just got to plan better. Like, you got to go for a North American player, even if you may not want to. Like, there's been plenty of North American players they could go after, and they decided that they want to go after European players. So, like, I respect it because it's from London, but at the same time, you're digging yourself your own grave there doing that. Because if Trey has issues getting over here like he did for yesterday's match, I believe it was, like it just showed like Trey still plays amazing on that connection, but it's not Trey at 120%. It's Trey at 60%. So I mean, they kind of dug themselves their own grave with that, in my opinion. Afro's an insane beast, though. I'll give you that. He is a monster. Like he's definitely a very good player.
Yeah, I mean, it is unfortunate, right? And I think I absolutely agree with you that they need to have a North American sub for situations like these, because we don't even know if, I mean, I'm not sure entirely how the London Royal Ravens are going to get out of the predicament they're in, because they don't have a fourth at the moment, effectively, unless the CDL allows them to play in season with a player in the United Kingdom, which I think it would be fine, but it wouldn't be great for the London Royal Ravens themselves. So we'll see. But more to the point, my question actually with these two teams and for you guys is, with FeLo joining the Dallas Empire and we have Afro joining the London Royal Ravens, does this open up an opportunity for these two franchises to pick up academy teams, right? Because we've had more and more academy teams coming. We've got LAG this season. We've got the New York Subliners. Do the Dallas Empire take this opportunity to take, that current FeLo's team and make them into an academy team and effectively for the London Royal Ravens, do they take House Tough and make them into the Royal Ravens Academy? GRVTY, I'll go to this one for this one because you've got to play the New York Subliners. Do you see this as a possibility? Do you think that there's going to be more academy teams specifically relating to these two?
I mean, you can't rule out anything right now. I mean, it's still early in the season, but I think that just in general, I think it's smarter for every team to have an academy team in the long run, just because it looks better if the team plays well, like in the AM scene, then it definitely like elevates the team's like image more,
Mm-hmm.
So I think every team should have an academy team.
Yeah, 100%. Fenix, what about you?
I think every team should have an academy team. I just don't think enough of the franchises see the value in them right now because it's still like in the infant stages of, the newborn stages of the COD League. So I don't think they see the value enough in them yet. I feel like a few of them do, and a few of them are starting to see it. I think this year, next year, by the end of next year, every team will have one. That's just my opinion. I think by the end of next year, every team will have one. I think this year, you'll probably see like 7 or 8 of them with them. I don't think Dallas will this year because I don't think that was part of Dallas's game plan going into this year, just from my opinion. Like it wasn't that way last year. I don't see them flipping the switch right now. I think they'll flip the switch next year once they see everyone else have one.
Mm-hmm.
Same with 100 Thieves. I don't think they'll have an academy team right now, as well as FaZe or Optic. But I think you'll see like those four traditional big teams actually pick one up next year when they're like, okay, this looks better. It's better for publicity. It's better for branding. It's better for everything.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say as well, to add on sort of the London Royal Ravens discussion, right, with them having an academy team, if you were to pick up House Tough, you already have the groundwork there for players that have played with either the Royal Ravens Academy in the past or just have good connections with the Royal Ravens management and their actual starting lineup. You've got Defrag on that roster, who I think last year got a chance on the Royal Ravens Academy. You've got Weeman, who has also played on the Royal Ravens Academy last year. So there is definitely precedent there for the London Royal Ravens to have an academy team, and it would be nice for them to pick up that roster. I think that would be a really nice sort of jump up for that team. And of course, as well, I think the other thing is now that Challengers is becoming more and more structured, we're getting more support for Challengers, both from a broadcast perspective and from a structure perspective. There is going to be more incentive for academies to pick up these teams. So, hey, maybe it will happen, right? That's going to be. We'll see.
I'm excited for the future. The future definitely looks bright in that aspect. It's nothing but beneficial to a franchise to pick that up because then you get your hands, your mittens, you get them on the next generation of talent that's sitting right under you. So you don't have to go dig through the AM scene to find a player to replace somebody on your team. You look down at your academy team, your farm team, and you go, oh, look at that's Tom Gravity. He's been playing good. Let's pull him up to main. Like, we need a main. Let's pull him up. Like, it makes things a lot easier, a lot less painful, a lot less annoying because you don't have to go buy these players from orgs anymore. They're under your name, under your banner already, so you don't have to buy them from anybody. You can just pull them up, and then that's that.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it much easier. I think once franchises go that route, it'll make things a lot easier for everybody.
Yeah, I see a question in the chat. Just in regards to those, we can have a section at the end. If anybody wants to ask questions, you will get to ask them at the end. So make sure you ask at the end, Habakus, and we will ask everybody that question at the end of the show. Speaking about these, I guess the structure for Call of Duty challenges, let's talk about the big announcements that came this weekend. I was kind of hoping actually that this would happen because obviously we didn't get Challenges Cups this weekend, so there'll be less to talk about. And luckily it did. We do get Challenges details. So let's start by talking about the overall season formatting that was announced this weekend. Now, obviously, before this weekend, we knew that we'd get Challengers Elite. We knew that obviously we'd have these weekend cup tournaments, but we didn't know how many seasons of Challengers Elite there'd be. We didn't know how many Challengers Cups there'd be. And we also didn't know about the open events, which were coming later this year. So let's go through each bit of the formatting that's been announced then. So starting off with the prize pool, I presume you guys are going to be happy to hear this. 1.1 million or 1.4 million effectively in pricing for this season for Call of Duty Challenges. Is that a number that whets your taste buds a little bit?
I mean,
Definitely,
anything over a million
gets
is
me.
nice.
Yeah, definitely gets me excited to play more. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like for me, it's not
What
really
was it
even about
last
the
year,
money. I
Tom?
just want to win. But
Yeah.
last
In
year
the
was
position
less.
you guys are in.
Last year was less, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was like 1 million even last year or something like that.
Yeah, last year, and obviously last year they did actually have to shift their pricing around a little bit for online. Obviously, we were going to have the events where each event had its own prize pool and such, and then championships at the end of the season. But obviously, everything got shifted around for online. So this is the year that we have something solidified and everything. And it is really nice to have this 1.4 million prize pool essentially for challenges. It's that support we love to see. Let's talk about how that just is being distributed then. So we have the 20 weekend cup tournaments. I don't know if this includes the 4 that we've had so far. I presume it is, but that's $130,000 of the prize pool. Then we have the 5 open events. Just taking a moment to talk about these. We didn't know about the open events. I assume that they will essentially act like we had them last year, where there were the 5 Challengers Cups. So we had those. I assume that they will be in the same sort of vein as that. What are your guys' opinions on the open events? Phoenix, I'll start with you on this one.
I mean, I think Tom will agree too. Like, more events means more money, means more W's. I'm completely on board with more events. That means the more we get to win. I really like winning a lot. So, I mean, 5 more open events means 5 more W's, man. Like, I'm happy with that. I'm okay with it. I mean, it's good for the AM scene. Like I said, you go through the Elite League versus what we have now, and it'll give. Let's say there's certain weekends we don't want to play. It gives other teams chances that are lower seeded teams to actually make a name for themselves. I think we're kind of gauging like in CS where they have they have their MDL and right under being in the pro league, and then they have their pro league, and they have all the stages under that. I think that's the route COD's going. I think it's a good route to take. It's going to help a lot of people get noticed. Like, no team should have to play us that's like 180th seed at fucking 1 in the afternoon on a Saturday, man. It's just not fair. Like, it's not gonna mean those teams never upset anybody. So to give them a better chance not having to play us right away would be a good thing for them. It's a boost for a lot of AM teams, in my opinion.
Yeah. Tom, what about you?
I mean, I agree with him. I mean, there's some teams out there that aren't the best right now, but I feel like later in the year, like obviously, like they'll close the gap a little bit, especially if like most of the top seeds aren't playing in some of those tournaments.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually kind of curious about the formatting for these open events, right? Because we don't have a clue what they look like at the moment. I presume we'll get more details closer to the time. But what kind of formatting would you guys like to see for these open events? I was kind of thinking sort of like, wouldn't it be cool to have sort of group stages on like a Friday or something, and then moving to a single elimination bracket or double elimination bracket for the Sunday? What kind of formatting would be best for these open events? Tom, I'll start with you on this one.
I mean, with the challenges like Elite coming, I feel like they should just go back to the exact way it was before any of like the Pro League stuff started happening. So like there should be like the 12 teams or whatever it is in pool play, and then every single other team playing through an open bracket. And then the
Yes,
last 4 teams make it through open, and then they play the 4 teams in the 4 pools, and then we go from there. We go into a bracket after that.
Sam?
I fucking love that. That's a great idea.
It is a great idea.
Get this guy in the CDL staff right now, man. This guy's had a great idea. Bring it back to the old school days, man. That would be so lit if we could do that.
Those tournaments were absolutely like amazing.
best.
Every single one I went to. There's no better feeling than like just grinding through the open bracket and then making it into pool play.
Yeah.
And beating a really good team too. Like that's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, agreed. I think it is interesting actually because the placements of these open events, if you guys don't already know, they are actually set during the team majors. So essentially, when we have our final events for each stage in the CDL, we will also be having these open events, 5 of them split between each stage. So it'll be very interesting to see sort of this exact, as you're suggesting, the exact dynamic we had if you cast your mind back to CWL 2019, where we had essentially the pro bracket going on at the same time as the open bracket. I think that is that would be cool to see once again in these open events. And we do also have broadcasted finals for those events as well, which is going to be really cool to see on those days. So yeah, really excited to see those open events. Go ahead.
So you might know because you do casting. Did they put a typo in the elite thing where it said will not be broadcasted? Like,
oh, for what? Where does it say it?
It said it like in the elite challengers information on the COD League page. Like if you like scroll down it says like it like won't be broadcasted. I think they meant to say will be broadcasted. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Where does it say it? Where does it say it? Where to watch for the elite qualifiers? Are you looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to confirm, the elite qualifiers will not be broadcasted.
Okay.
That is confirmed.
Okay. I mean, it will by Shift or something.
It will be. I can now confirm, if you guys didn't already know, because you might have watched the Diffuse last night. If you didn't, you bloody should, because it's great. Over on Shift stream, he did confirm last night that we will be doing our community streams for those events again.
Okay.
So don't stress if you were looking forward to seeing.
I love you guys, man. You guys make it great, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate. I mean, we love doing it. I think is the key thing.
Yeah,
right?
but you guys don't really get much in return for doing it. You just do it. Like that's why it's a community stream. Like, yeah, don't get it twisted. Like Shift gets his viewers and so do you, but at the same time, like that's a lot of extra time put in for not being really paid for that. It's respectful.
Well, like I said, I love doing it, and to be honest with you, I think if we didn't have a stream, it would suck. So I'm just happy to do it over here in Europe, and I'm sure Shift is happy to do it in America. So yes, by the way, it isn't casted officially. There won't be an official stream for the qualifiers from the CDL, but there will be one from us. So if you want to see who qualifies for challenges, don't stress, because we'll have it for you. But there will be casting for the open events, so that's really cool to see that they are going to cover those. Let's talk about Challengers Elite then. That's going to be 5 seasons of Challengers Elite, which I think is really cool. We were all wondering about how the formatting for Challengers Elite would work. We kind of didn't know if it was going to be sort of one, essentially what it was with the 2019 Pro League, whereas the 8 teams, they get to go through and they are your 8 Challengers Elite teams for the entire year. Nope. It's going to be 5 seasons, just like there's 5 stages of the CWL or the CDL, sorry. And there will be relegation and such. We'll get into the finer details of Challengers Elite in just a second. But $500,000 in prizing for Challengers Elite. That's $50K per region, per season. I think that's a pretty good prize pool split, actually. I think for the amount of time that you guys are going to be able to put into Elite, I'd say that's really nice to hear that there will be that amount of prizing fit into Challengers Elite for each season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to play some COD, man. I'm so ready. The entire year.
Yeah, it is going to be. I presume it's going to be nice for you guys, because I think for teams like yourselves, even though you will likely have to play in the challenge, or you won't have to, but you will likely choose to play in the Challengers Cup still because you can. It's going to be nice for you to play a competition where you don't have to get through those early rounds of just battering teams, or I suppose, I mean, even the later rounds for you guys, but you don't have to do the early rounds of just battering teams with god awful score lines early on in the bracket. So I think it is going to be very nice for teams like yourself to not have to do that early on. The other thing I think it's going to be great for Challengers Elite is I think the fact that now that there's 8 teams on each side of the pond, it's going to be nice to see, I think, the CDL teams, they're going to be able to concentrate on who's the best of the best a lot easier, rather than having to scan through hundreds of teams in North America, Europe, and APAC. They essentially get shown these 16 teams every week, and they can decide from there. I think it's going to be awesome to see that kind of recognition. I think it's going to be a lot easier than what it was before with the Challengers Cups and such. And for teams
Yeah,
like yourself as well, right? I mean,
yeah, I
WestR.
agree. It
Yeah.
definitely helps. It definitely helps us just stay elevated at the top.
I just
Yeah.
like that there's relegation every season, to be honest with you, and make sure people don't get complacent. Like, if you look at the league, like, they only had one relegation back in the day. It was, like, during World War II, and I think even IW. They had relegations at, like, Anaheim. I think it was both events, to be honest with you. But anyways, they had relegations, but it was only one, so people would get lazy and get complacent. And then they would turn up if they got put in relegation, then they would be lazy and complacent again.
Yeah.
Now there's like 4 to 5 different relegations. Like, you have to stay on top of your stuff. Like, if you stay top 2 the whole time, you're safe. Like, you're valid. Like, that's where you want to sit at. And that's like with my guys. Like, it'll make sure we don't get complacent because we'll know we don't have a ton of time before the next relegation. So we got to stay on top of everything at all times.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think I think it's a nice split as well to get into the final details in just a second, right? With Challengers Elite, right? It is going to be good to see essentially with each season that 4 teams stay in Challengers Elite and then 4 teams do drop. I think that's actually really perfect for the split. I think in North America, it's going to be a hell of a competitive scene anyway. But specifically relating to Europe, with what I've seen so far, it is really nice to know that there is going to be 4 teams that are safe. I think that's literally the perfect number, to be honest, to go through every single season, in my opinion, at least. I don't know what you guys think about that, whether or not you'd have that changed.
Yeah, I think it's perfect, and I think this year gives like everybody like a ton of incentive to just work really hard, and that's literally all I live for. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm really happy with the challenges formatting this season. Finally, then let's talk about challenges championships. No surprise, it was announced kind of under the radar, but there is going to be challenges championships at the end of the year. Obviously, we don't know what kind of form that will take just yet, whether it's online or at LAN, depending on where we're at with the season with COVID and such. But 250,000. Yeah, we all want LAN, right? But it is going to be $250,000 in pricing. Again, no real surprise, to be honest, that Challengers Championships is going to be back after how successful it was last year. Yeah, just to sort of bring up what you just said, Sam, it would be so nice to have a LAN, wouldn't it? I don't expect
it'd be nice
it.
because then there's like the only thing I don't like is like all the success we had this year. Everyone has just made like so many different excuses as to why we're
Yeah.
having success, and like I want them to show up to LAN and have to sit across from Tom because I just really want that really bad. Because then there's gonna be zero excuses at that point. When we win the same fashion we've been winning, everyone's gonna look and be like, "Oh, well, what's your excuse then? What's your excuse? Like, you had different colored Ethernet cables? Like, well, what's gonna be the reasoning? Like the only thing I miss about LAN is there's just a lot of excuses. Anytime someone loses, it's it's either this team cheated, or well, that's really just it. This team cheated.
Yeah.
They cheated and they beat us, or their host is atrocious. Like, I don't want to hear that stuff anymore. I really miss LAN. Like, after
No
this
LAN,
season's
yeah.
over, I hope we have LAN every event after this because, man, like, it's online stuff. People just make excuses about losing. I don't like it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys have definitely earned where you're at, right? And it will be interesting to see sort of how LAN comes in and if it changes anything. I don't think it'll change anything at all, to be honest. For some teams, it
Tom's a
will.
Lanimal, man. Tom's a Lanimal. He's a scary
Yeah.
guy in LAN. He just screams at everybody.
That's my shit right there.
Tom just looks at him and screams at him, and it's over, bro.
Listen, man, there's no better feeling than waking up on Saturday morning, Friday morning, whenever it is, and just walking to your first match of the day, just full confidence and just ready to game, man. I mean, it's what I live for. Like,
We want it back, right?
It makes you lick your chops, man.
badly.
No cap.
Yeah, I'm really
It's
excited for it
got
to
me
be
up,
back.
just waking up, just so
Yeah.
ready. I mean, there's no better
Tom just
feeling,
has to
man.
roll out of his bed and get in his chair right now.
Yeah,
That's it.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
right
literally
now
just
it's just a case of just getting out of your bed.
like every tournament so far these past like 2 years is just wake up, roll out of bed, and just shoot my gun. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a nice feeling to have LAN back when we do have it back. And hopefully, it's not been confirmed that Champs is online just yet. I believe Dot said on Twitter yesterday, said that is currently the plan. But obviously, things could well change. And that's not set in stone, depending on what happens with the COVID-19 virus. So it would be nice to have Champs on LAN. For Challengers Elite stuff, I think we said already 5 seasons beginning in February and ending in July. And each season lasts 4 weeks as well. This is a point to talk about. Comes back to Challengers Elite. I think that's really nice. It's a nice format. It's essentially just a month-long league, and then that's it. Playoffs comes and goes, and that's it. So that's it for everything Challengers. Anything you guys want to add for all the Challengers Elite stuff? Quickly, can we send ourselves to the poll?
I think I'm gonna give a shout out to Jack Felling and Zeb. They've, Zeb just came in here really and started doing the Challenger stuff. He really didn't format any of it last year, so he's kind of had to rock with what was there already. And this year, he actually helped format something that I think is going to be a good foundation for the AM scene from here on out. I think we're heading in the right direction. The scouting series, it was a good idea. Just need a little better preparation on it, and this Elite League's a good idea. And as you add on to it over the years, it's going to get better and better and better and better. So I've got to give a shout out to them. They've really actually stepped up and showed they care about the AM scene, which was something I was worried about. I thought they were going to forget about us and just kind of leave us here and focus on their pro teams. And they've, to be honest with you, they've focused on us more than they have them recently. They've given us a lot of stuff and a lot of attention, and haven't really given them much attention. So I got to give them respect for that. They're doing as much as they can over there. I think they need to keep that in mind. You can't really please AMs. So, they just got to keep doing what they're doing. They're doing a great job.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. I think it's always one of those things, right? Whenever anybody does something wrong, it's everyone piles on and talks shit and crap
The internet.
on Twitter, yeah, right. But when people do something right, obviously, I mean, not to say that people don't give other folks praise, but it's definitely less attention than when they do something wrong, right? That's just the nature of the internet, as you rightly point out, right, Sam? But you're dead on the money, right? I think what Activision and what the Call of Duty Challengers team have done this year, it is absolutely a massive step in the right direction in terms of the formatting, in terms of the focus. Specifically, it even down to the finest details like the prize pool split, right? Last year, I think North America, I think it got the largest slice of the pie for Challengers Championships. This year, I think it's exactly even between North America and Europe. APAC, of course, not. But I really, even details like that, I appreciate, right? Because it's like, you talk about Europe.
Well, I mean,
this is a discussion you can have on its own, but Europe has improved massively with its talent pool over the last year. So,
I mean, like, it's even like Zeb said, like, he feels terrible for the APAC region, but it's baby steps right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We gotta take baby steps. And like, I know if I was in the APAC region and Tom was, like, we would both be heated. Okay, we would not be happy. We'd be having negative fun in Call of Duty this year. But at the same time, having an outside perspective on it, like, they're gonna incorporate something for APAC next year. It's just this year it's baby steps, and just anybody in the Apex that's watching, like, just be patient and wait, man. Like, your guys' time's coming too. Like, they have to set everything up for the AM scene, because last year the AM scene was, excuse my language, but it was a shit show. Like, we played every single weekend. We had no breaks. Like, I was dead body at the end of the season. Like, I was just dead. And I don't even play. I can only imagine Tom or Carlos or Paul or Alex. They're probably just completely dead. Like, it's going to take time. He had to come in here and reformat the entire AM scene. So if the APAC just gives them time, I'm sure they'll even add stuff in this year for the APAC if the APAC's patient. But you can't just be going on Twitter and just bashing them. Like, you got to be patient. You got to wait, because like, if you go on and bash them, why are they going to want to do anything to help you? Like, that's just the way that works.
Agreed. And actually, we'll have a very short discussion about this, because there's still 8 minutes left on the poll. So I don't want to call it final just yet. We'll talk about that in 8 minutes. We've got 8 minutes to fill.
Listen, man, when I last looked at it, it's looking kind of final, Brody. I'm not gonna lie to you, champion. It looks
a lot can change in 8 minutes, right?
Bro, 8 minutes. We're at 79% right now, bro. I think this one's in, Chief.
Who knows? Renegades could come up here. I don't know. Anyway,
everyone in all Australia votes.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that is a good point, right? Because you talk about Australia being very vocal on Twitter over the last week or so, with all the announcements. They knew this was coming anyway, right? I mean, I'll happily say this, and I'd really would like to have somebody from APAC on actually over the course of the next few weeks to really give their side of what's going on with APAC and such. Because APAC as a region, it has, I will say, degraded over the last few years, and that is partly down to what I believe to be a perceived lack of support, and also I think just a lack of interest from some certain players and teams over there. It definitely has got worse, right? And I kind of agree with the move that Activision have done here. You've got to support the other thing as well, right? Logistically speaking, right? Last year when we had the Challengers Cups and APAC had coverage, they had to pre-record the APAC game and then have it broadcasted on the Challengers Cups, like on those weekends where obviously we had like split coverage between North America, Europe, and APAC. It is a pain in the ass to have to do stuff like that, and for casters to be like, oh, I don't know.
Do you cast APAC as well?
So what
Or is that
for
only
our
Shift that
community
does
coverage?
that?
So I don't do it because I ain't staying up till
That's
that is midnight
brutal.
for me.
That's brutal.
Yeah, and that is actually a good point as well. Shout out to Shift and Proper who do that every single week. They are absolute troopers for that. But yeah, just from a broadcast perspective, there's so much that goes into a broadcast, and APAC is just like a spaghetti junction of logistics that you would have to add on to the broadcast. It makes sense, as you rightly point out, right, Sam, to have the baby steps, bring in North America and APAC for now, and then you can apply that, or bring North America and Europe, sorry, and then you can apply APAC when you've got everything 100% down.
Oh yeah, you got to lay the foundation first, like. I get people's frustrations. Like, trust me, I get them. Like last year, I was frustrated to begin with, but people have to understand that if we don't put this foundation down now, it's gonna happen again next year, and they're gonna get left out again next year. So we just need to get this over with and do this quickly without making too big of a deal out of it, and then move forward after that. Like, I think that's the best step to take with this, because even with like me and Tom, we had no idea what was going on with the challenger scene at all. Even through like the last like 4 cups, we're like, we can only guess. We're like, all right, maybe this will be good. We don't know. Like, and I get that, again, frustrations are there, but if you guys are just patient and you talk to Jack, or I think, what's her name again? I can't remember Jack Felling's name right now.
Jack Felling.
No, it's she has it's a different. It's like, I can't remember her name, but anyways,
don't worry about it. Anyway,
yeah, but no, if you just talk to them and reach out to her and Zeb, and like ask them, is there anything that's going to be implemented or helped with the APAC this year? I'm sure they would try to find a way to chip something over to you guys. Like, they're very reasonable people. They're very nice people. Like, if you just reach out to them rather than bashing them, they'll probably reach back out and try to help you as well.
Yeah, like give your feedback respectively, I think is the bottom line.
I did that with Zeb. I was like, how did, like, not to be disrespectful, but how did we not auto qualify for the first cup or the first season of the Elite? Like, we've won every cup. We haven't dropped a series. Like, we've been going crazy. Like, why do we not auto qualify? And instead of going, dude, we should auto qualify, this is BS, and just ripping into Zeb, I just asked him nicely, can you give a reason to that? And then he gave me a very thoughtful and well thought out reason. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And I thanked him for his time and moved on. Like, I didn't have to rip into him or be a dick to him to get my point across. That's what I'm saying. They just got to be a little more respectful to these people, and they'll probably help them more.
They are active on Twitter as well, especially Matt.
Very.
He responds to like everybody on Twitter.
He responds to everybody instantly, bro. It's crazy. Like paragraphs. I don't know how he does it. I would not be able to do that, bro. I'd lose my mind if I had that job. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd be like, leave me alone. Go away. Go away. He's like such a nice guy, bro.
Sorry, Tom. What are you gonna say?
Guy go crazy. And I mean, I have like tons of respect for everybody that's over there in the APAC, like everyone on the old Mind Freak team or the old Tane Minds team. Like, all those guys are really talented. I mean, they just haven't been able to play like some of the best competition just because they're stuck in Australia.
You could do what Cruz did, and you could get over here.
But that is a lot.
That is
a hard process, but
that is hard. But Cruz really wanted to get over here, so we really got over here. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things. Like, I tried preaching to certain APAC players before too. Like, you just need to get over here, man. Like, Cruz asked me last year, should I stay here or should I go to North America? I'm like, you should go to North America. That's a no-brainer, bro.
Right? Because Australia's part. I'm pretty sure it's easier to move from Australia to the UK because it's part of the Commonwealth. Like,
just go to Europe or something. Go to a better region and play.
Yeah, I think they'd definitely be better off if they could do that. And of course, I think the other thing there is, of course, that we'd actually get an answer as to whether or not where Renegades sit in the overall standings of things. Because at the moment, I mean,
Agreed.
the only sort of notion we've had in regards to where Renegades are globally is that very first event, launch weekend 2020, where I believe the Renegades placed, I want to say,
Like
top
fifth.
6.
Yeah, they
top
got
6
fifth to sixth.
at Minnesota. So that is the only notion we've had about where they face globally. Every other event since then has been regional, I'm pretty sure. I don't think we've had anybody besides Singularity making their way over towards North America last year. That's its own thing that
Well, I mean,
we're not going to get to see.
I think Renegades and all those teams are awesome, but like Tom can agree on this. Like, I think all those players are awesome. I know all of them pretty well. They're all very talented players. I know that, but the difference is the league doesn't know that. The only thing the league notices is there's only 2 really good teams over there that
It's
could
not even that, right? It's viewership as well.
Yeah, like it's like there's not that much competition there is how it's viewed to people. And it's not a I know those guys are talented. I know they could compete if they went to Europe or North America, but that's not what the whole general public knows. Okay, and that's one thing they got to understand. That's not what the league understands. That's not what like Matt and Jack Felling and all those people understand. They don't understand that there's not that much competition, that those guys are talented still. There's like, all right, there's like 2 teams over there that are good. We're just going to give it to Europe, North America this year. Like, it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it goes out. I hope the APAC guys know, like, we all have respect for them. We think like they're good players. It's just an unfortunate circumstance. You know, unfortunately, they're the ones that got the short straw. You know, they got the shit end of the stick. Like, it's unfortunate, but you just hold on to that stick, and then next year it'll be worth it, man. It really will.
Yeah, for sure. Right, I think the poll is done. I'm pretty sure it's got 1 minute left on it. I apologize for stretching this out, guys.
No, you're okay, man.
We're out here. I was
We're
going to jump
booing.
to the poll, and I was like, "Hang on, there's 10 minutes left." Shit, but we're all good. We're all good. I believe the poll is going to be done in 1 minute anyway. And as you earlier pointed out, 0 minutes. Okay, so we'll be done in like 60 seconds. So anyway, I'll get Connor to bring it up on screen because that result is not changing.
Time, look at it.
So, surprise, surprise. For those of
I'm
you who didn't
Steven.
know the poll this week, the question was being 4 Challengers Cups in, which team, which Challengers roster across all regions has looked the best this season? I have put in the top 4 seeds globally, 2 from Europe, 1 from NA, and 1 from APAC. And of course, the 1 from NA, WestR. 79.2% of the vote. Obviously, I mean, you guys did retweet it, to be fair. So, you know.
Yeah, it might be a little bit rigged.
You're from Europe, though.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I did think it would be a little bit swayed.
Your viewers definitely slapped that House Tarth vote 1,000,000%. No,
Well, House Taft did get 15% of the vote. Team Dave,
they're not
which
a
is
bad team.
August team, not a bad team at all. 4.4% of the vote, and then of course Renegades 1.3% of the votes.
Poor guys, man.
Not all that surprising.
They get no love from the CDL this year, and they get no love on the poll, man. Damn, that's just mean. I love you guys. I just know I'm voting for you guys, Renegades. It's all good, man.
This is an opportunity for you guys to gas yourself up a little bit. 79.2% of the vote, WestR voted to be the best team so far. There is a reason for that, of course. First in every single Challengers Cup. The only team, as I opened at the top of the show with, the only team to have won every single Challengers Cup in their respective region. What the heck are you guys eating? Like,
Yeah,
I gotta know what's your diet plan. I gotta know all the details. When are you waking up in the morning? When are you going to bed? What are you eating? What are you drinking?
We haven't lost
I
a
need to know.
series either, just so you know. We haven't lost a series all year, and
Well, you've
we're
lost
12-0 in
you
grand
haven't,
finals.
yeah.
We haven't
Yeah.
lost a series ever this
Isn't it,
year.
you haven't lost the
Knock on
control
wood.
as well? Wasn't that a thing before?
Yeah, we haven't lost the control at all.
Man,
Yeah, we're scary, man. Like, honestly, I just got blessed with Tom. One is a player. Like, I got blessed with my whole team, but like going down the line, like Tom's just a really good leader. Like I've said during our last podcast we did, during everything, like Tom makes my job easy. Like he makes it insanely easy. If I say, Tom, I want this done, he's like, all right, champion, I'll go get it done. And then he'll round the guys up and he'll make sure it gets done. You know, Paul and all these guys, you got to remember, Paul has just turned 19. Venom is 19. They both listen pretty well, to be honest with you. For being 19 years old, it's kind of shocking. And then we have Alex. You know, Alex a little bit airheaded sometimes, but we love our boy. You know, he does it intentionally, though, man. He does it intentionally. He's not stupid. He just tries to make everyone mad. But we got blessed with each other. We were the team that no one wanted. Like, no one really wanted me as a coach. No one wanted Tom, which is mind-boggling. Like, I've never worked with Tom until this year, and I can honestly say he is, like, blown my fucking mind this year. Like, excuse my language, but he has blown my mind. Like, I know main ARs are supposed to be, like, your best player statistically, but I've never heard a saying where your main ARs are supposed to dominate every facet of the game. And, like, there's not anything I don't see Tom doing. Tom's dominating in S&D. He's dominating in hardpoint. He's dominating in control. He's getting sometimes the most hill time on the team along with the most defends. Like, I don't think there's anything he can't do, to be honest with you. The fact that he's even on our team still and or probably one of the most overlooked people on our team is mind-boggling to me. It's actually mind-boggling.
Tom's
Like,
just
I go back and watch Tom's
soaking
VODs
this
and just
all in.
mind blown.
Some good
But
gas.
Tom loves it, man. He
Yeah.
loves it. He's the best, baby.
I can't refuse that diesel right there.
Nah, he knows it's true though. It's all facts. Like, Tom will even say it about himself. Tom knows how good he is. Like, he knows how good he is. He'll tell it to you himself.
Tell
Like,
me,
I don't mean
Jeff.
to say
Tell
that.
me.
I'm
I want to hear it.
I'm confident in my gameplay, man. I've been
That's
I
what he's
don't
gonna
know. I've
say.
like ever since like it was towards the end of Black Ops 4 and just like the entire MW season. I don't know. I just flipped the script and I just wanted to start frying kids. Like in World War II, like I played that like entire season just trying to do like make my plays that I'm making like the best plays that I can make, you know, like taking the right routes every life and trying to play methodical and smart, but like I think I found like the perfect balance of both those games like play or like those two styles that I've played. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys
Everyone
are
on this
definitely
team is
doing something
insane,
right.
man.
Yeah, I mean, individually speaking, you're all very talented. Anybody
We
can
have
tell
the
that.
4 best players in the
Gameplay.
AM team currently, in my opinion.
That is a strong claim. I don't know if I won't agree or disagree with it because
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to, but I think like if you look across the board, like what everyone's expected to do on the team, like Tom goes above what's expected of him as a main, like miles above. Paul, we don't even gotta get started on that. Like, Paul's so good, people think he cheats. Okay, like, you know, Carlos, don't even get started on that one. And Alex is like probably the most overlooked person on our team at times. But Alex is like probably one of the most selfless people on the team.
yeah,
Like, he's a person that will just I mean, well, I wouldn't say he lays in the hill because he doesn't know how to lay down sometimes. But I mean, you know, like he soaks up our hill time for us. He hits the rotations. Like, he does a lot of stuff that any other player that was on this team wouldn't want to do because they'd want to be a star too. He could be a superstar if he wanted to. I've seen Alex literally just take games over, but he realizes with the players on his team, he doesn't have to do that. Like, but as far as the 4 best players go, yes. I don't think there's 4 other players I would take and stick in these guys' spots currently and be like, I'd rather have this person over them. It's not
Yeah.
because I like Tom. Trust me, I like Tom, but that is not even the reason. Like, you just can't replace what he does. Like, I wouldn't have somebody else to back me up all the time like Tom does. Like, it makes my job and everyone's job so much easier. I think the reason we've stayed where we're at this season is because me and Tom literally ride them so hard. Like, we don't ever let them get a moment of complacency. The moment me and Tom smell it from a million miles away, it's gone. We stomp it out right away, which allows us to stay focused and locked in at all times. You know,
yep,
there's a lot of players that do the things on our team that they do, and I don't think you could replicate that. Like what Paul does, what Carlos does, what Alex does, what Tom does, you just can't replicate that, man. Like, you can't just pick like somebody up and go, this guy will be able to do that just fine. No, it's not how that works, man. Like, the plays that Tom makes, you can't script that, bro. Like, he just, and you know when he's making his plays too, he's big. Guys, I'm making a play. Like, he'll start whispering it right here, man.
especially in S&D. I hit the whisper like I'm on land, man. Every time.
It's the funniest shit ever, man. But yeah, like I said, like other teams are good, like House Tarth, all those guys are great. Afro, Defrag, Wee Man, and even Joey. I coached Joey last year. You know that as well, Brody.
Yes.
And I think Joey's very good. I think that team's very good. I think Renegades and even Dave's team are all very talented teams. But as it stands right now, like as far as natural talent goes, this team is just it's insane, man. I've never been a part of something like this in my whole life. Like, it's crazy. This might be one of the most rare teams in a very long time. And even you watch Formal and Scum talk about it, that's arguably one of the best teams right now.
You guys are right up.
Oh yeah, and like he's like they're a top 6 team. Like, no one puts up a fight against Optic like we do. Like, every time we play them, it's like a scrappy fight every time. Like every map's super scrappy. It's super close. Like that's what I mean. I think FaZe, Optic, and Dallas are the best teams right now with 100 Thieves behind them.
Yep.
And then probably Rocker. And you know, you look at Optic. Optic may be the best team right now. They're always the beginning of the year team too.
Yeah, that's true.
Like like they're gonna have like Scump is hungry right now, man. Like that man is like he's 18 again. Like it's actually crazy. I don't think I've ever seen him this motivated in a game before. Be real, him or Formal.
Well, let's ask a question then about sort of your team and where it's positioned in North America at the moment, right? Because obviously you've just explained really sort of why you believe you're the top team. Another factor though, really, right, is that North America. I mean, last year, Shift and I we always laughed about this last year. Is the fact that North America teams just cannot stay the fuck together. I don't know why. I don't know what. Like, I don't know why. So Europe is just as bad this year, actually, with the changes that have happened this week.
Yeah, theirs have been much quieter though. They keep it to themselves, bro.
Everyone keeps it below. I mean, apart from obviously all the
not North Americans, bro. They're tweeting up free agent every 2 days.
But North America, I mean, you look at WestR are the only team that has kept their team, as far as I'm aware, and you guys could correct me on this if I'm wrong. As far as I'm aware, WestR are the only team that have kept their 4 players from the very start, from Challengers Cup 1 through to Challengers Cup 4. Is that a reason? Tom, I'll ask this question to you. Do you see that as a big reason why you guys have just been able to stay ahead of everybody? It makes it so much easier, right, when everyone's just constantly changing their rosters.
Yeah, I mean, if they can't find like the right mix of players for them, I mean, like go for it, make a switch. But you also have to remember that we've been dominant the past 4 cups. Like we're not changing anything. We're literally keeping straight on the gas and we're not stopping. So they have to find that perfect mix of talent and smarts to try and beat us.
Yeah, New York got close, right? I mean, not to necessarily beat you. I mean, they held you close in maps, right? I mean, that much is true. It's just unfortunate that now this week New York have had to make a change almost immediately after
I mean,
that.
We kind of played like crap against them too, to be honest with you. Like, I don't take credit away from anybody. They're not bad players by any means, but like we 3-0'd them.
We could have played way better against them.
I mean, we blew like a substantially big lead the first map, which is why it got close. Like the only team last tourney that like actually fought back was BBG.
Yeah.
Like they actually like fought pretty hard.
Which is ironic, right? Because in the past few weeks, even with the change that they made with Pentagram, I think he joined the roster, I want to say. Even with that change, right, they were still the top 16, 3 cups in a row. So that's ironic that they actually got third last.
I mean, I think New York's actually decent though, compared to most other amateur teams right now. I think the reason they're decent, this is my opinion, is because Nato's leading them. Like they have a veteran on their team who's been there and done that. So he's able to just kind of grab him by the reins and kind of pull him through. Like, hey, Spart, this is what you need to be doing. Hey, whoever else on the team, this is what you need to be doing. Or Byron, or Prolude, this is what you need to be doing. And I think that helps them a lot because if they didn't have that leadership there, after they choke one map to us, they're done in the whole series.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen that happen with Sibin, that when we played him in the Challengers Cup Grand Finals, the 3rd Challengers Cup and Grand Finals, they choked every single map. And they lost one round of the control, and you could hear it on their stream and their comms just went terrible. Like, they started whining, they started arguing, they fell apart. When you have a veteran on your team, like, that's what I was pointing out about Tom. So it makes Tom so valuable. When things start going sideways, Tom will be the first person to grab everyone by their neck and be like, yo, calm down. Let's relax. Let's bring it back. We can still win this. We're valid. Like, if you don't have players like that on your team, you're not going to win. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean,
at least consistently.
Yeah, you guys have definitely got that in spades, right? That consistency and just being able to hold it together in those situations. I guess then the question to ask would be, and I'm sure you guys have heard this question a million times on other podcasts and such, is, I mean, we already know what happened with Paul X, right? I mean, he got offered a 2-week contract, if I'm right in saying that, and ended up saying no to it. If I'm correct, I'm sure you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. But if you guys were to be offered that spot up, would you guys want to take that? Because we've heard in the past teams saying in challengers that they'd rather stick together through challengers and impress, and then be picked up as a squad to the CDL upon expansion.
Let Tom take this one.
But obviously, you guys are doing so well that surely it's inevitable, right, that you guys are going to be the first look in for any potential CDL changes coming forward. Would you guys take that, or would you guys rather stick together going forward?
I mean, I think in the long run, all of us just sticking together is probably the best bet. Just because we get to keep all of our talent and our chemistry and everything, and then if we get into a pro league spot as a team, then I think we also have, or that gives us the best opportunity to win a championship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like I said, it is that same kind of situation. We heard teams last season where they might have got offered spots and such, and they decided not to take it. So yeah, I really respect that actually, that you guys are sticking together, even through maybe getting offers and such.
I mean, we just realized that at the end of the day, the money isn't the issue to anything. That's not what we look at. Like, I feel like a lot of these pro teams will offer minimum to an AM player, and an AM player will accept it because they don't see what we're seeing as a team. And like what we're seeing is if we wait it out and we get signed to a franchise together next year, we're all gonna be making the bag. And on top of that, we all get to stay together and we don't have to rebuild chem. Like if Tom got offered to go play and start for Dallas or somebody, I would kick Tom out the door. Okay, like I would put my foot right on his back and kick him out the door. He may fight me on it, but I would kick him out because I'd realize how good of an opportunity that is for Tom. And it's like if someone of that caliber offered me or offered anybody else on the team, Tom and them would also kick that person out the door and be like, "Go." Like, yeah, obviously we want to stay together, but we also understand that there's targets on our back now, not even in a bad way, like in more of a sense where CDL teams are just having their eyes on us nonstop. So as of right now, we don't really care about any of that. The only thing we care about is winning 5 cups in a row this weekend, and then if we get offered after that, we'll deal with it then. Because let me tell you, those few days of Paul when he was going through, it was not fun for us. Like it was so back and forth. We didn't know what was going on, but
yeah, vibes were everywhere.
eyes were killed,
Just
man. They were killed.
not knowing what's gonna happen is like the worst feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. What about an academy team then? I mean, I presume you guys have had offers from academy teams, from CDL rosters to be an academy team. If you haven't, they're stupid.
No,
Would you take being an academy team?
depends on who it is.
Yeah, I
think
I
Tom
think
would
it
say.
depends. Like
Really?
Because
not opposed to being a part of an academy team, but also I still just think like us just building up our WestR brand and then being
Yeah.
that is probably still probably the best way to do it. Because then we're not tied to any other pro team, and then we don't have to deal with them wanting to hold us or not wanting to sell us.
Yeah.
And
And
if we're
obviously
just if we're just clear cut the best team all year, and teams buy in next year, then we're next up pretty much.
it would have to be the right franchise, like a Dallas, like a FaZe, like even like you look at like your top 5, like your Rockers and all those guys, like that's something to look at. But if it's not them, we're better off signing, if we do sign with an org, one that's not tied to the franchise right now,
yeah.
because then we can just kind of get out of there and get sold when we need to get sold and move on.
And
That's
you also have to
probably
think like
yeah.
if we all get picked up by an academy team, then they have control over us. So they can split up our team at any moment if they want to pull somebody onto the starting roster.
A
So
regular
then that
org
would
can't do that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah. Well, yeah, I hope you guys do see success in the future in terms of getting picked up by a proper CDL team. Obviously, if you guys keep on going the way you are, I highly doubt that people will not be interested, right? Or there's just no way, right? There's no way that teams won't be interested. So I hope you guys do get that. We do have a question from chat. Havocus did ask this earlier on. He asks if 1 or 2 players from your team were to get a starting offer from the league and presumably take it here, what 2 North American Challengers players would you guys pick up?
That's I don't know how to answer. You, Tom, you want to take this
I
one?
suppose
Damn.
this does actually also like you have to remember the roles as well, right? You guys can't just shift around your roles. So
I mean, it would be role dependent. Like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure everyone knows the answer. Like, if Paul got picked up, who's his like replacement? There's not very many flexes in the AM scene. I'll be the one to say it. Like, there's decent ones, but there's only like 2 or 3 good ones. I think Tom could agree. Like, there's only 2 or 3 good ones.
so who are the other ones then? In your opinion?
Like that are good flexes.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
Huge,
tough. Like
huge
I think
replacement collective.
I
You
think I
said
think
it now. You got to follow through, bro.
I think Chris or Spart's a good flex.
Mhm.
Like, I think he
Yeah.
does really good stuff for his team. I think Dante is the best flex. It's Sib.
Yeah.
And maybe someone like maybe Dylan, but even then there's like complications there with that. Like Dylan Rex, like there's complications there with that because he's not even like a natural sub, he's more of a flex. But there's really not that many good flex right now, I'll tell you that. Like at least the way either that or Spoof. Spoof's another good flex. Like I actually think Tristan's really good at this game. Like he's the only person that when we played against them was turning up against us, so him. And then subs, that's just a whole different story, bro. Like sub players, like you have JT, you have Standy, you have other guys that are like pretty good sub players, but replacing a Venom or replacing a Zaptius, that would be hard. But I mean, we would keep fighting. If that happened, we wouldn't give up. Me and Tom, if Tom was the person that got picked up or Paul was, like, we'd all probably be really upset, but we'd move on from it. There's no
Yeah, at the
quitting
end of the
here.
day, we'll figure it out again.
Mm-hmm.
That's my job.
The winning train will never stop. That's all I gotta say. Me
Mhm.
and Tom have said this. The train is rolling right now, and it's not stopping for anybody. So if someone jumps off, you've just jumped off. There's no reboarding that train again. So, and then we'll keep refilling it with what we need to refill it with.
Whoever that
So
is, whichever.
yeah,
flex player it is,
whoever. I mean, it's not all about the talent either. It's about who fits with
chemistry and
our,
such. Right?
not just our chem, but like who fits with our long
Our
term goals
mindset
as a
and our
team.
yeah,
Yeah, like they have
Yeah.
to be able to fit
and what we're
mentally
trying
with
to
us.
accomplish.
Well, I suppose you guys are a little bit different to most teams anyway, right? Because you've already said here on this podcast that you wouldn't immediately you would rather stick as a 4 than take an offer, right? I mean, there are most players I don't think would do that. I think a lot of players would immediately take that offer and jump into a CDL roster. And of course that can go wrong, right? We've seen that in the past where last year I think LAG and Seattle Surge, I think their pickups didn't go very well at all, to be honest. I think they might have fared better in the Challengers League. So I think it is really awesome to hear you guys planning to stick together. And hey, maybe, I mean, I think the WestR dominance is going to continue throughout the season. It will certainly be interesting to see sort of looking back on this conversation in a year's time and such, you know, or however many months it is until 6 months until champs essentially. How WestR performs.
Well, just to give you a hint of our mindset. Hey Tom, what's our favorite chip?
The next one, brother. Like,
The
come on
next
now.
one. The next one. See, like people don't think that way. They win one chip and they get happy. You can ask Tom, our high of winning lasts about 1 hour. We'll watch the VOD back and we'll all laugh and get hype and stuff, and then after the VOD's over, like, all right, everybody, good night. and then we're done for the day. And then when we get on Monday or Tuesday, it's over with.
Yeah.
You know, it never happened. Because I always tell the guys, I can look back at my game PD at the end of the year, and I can look at all the pretty golds then. You know, until now, we're just gonna focus on keep getting those golds. So when I do look back on it, I have a whole case full of trophies, just a whole wall full of nothing but first place. You know, until that point though, we're not happy. Like even the last 2 cups we won, Tom will say we weren't happy about them. Like the only thing we were happy about the fourth one is we didn't drop a map on Sunday. That was the only thing we were happy about, and we should have won those maps by much more. After the third cup, we didn't even get hype. Here's what it sounded like after we won. We're like, "Let's go, guys! Good stuff." and that was like literally it. Like Paul got a little hype, but it wasn't even that much hype. Like we were disappointed in ourselves for how we won.
Yeah, I
Even
think
the last
it was literally like immediately I was just like, let's go. And then I was like, holy shit, man, we just played awful, bro. like I lost full, man.
But it's true though. I mean, that's why I think we stay the best though, because that's our mindset. When we know we're not playing to like our standard at all times, and like my guys know what our standard is. A lot of people say you can't be perfect. I think a lot of people who say that have never actually tried to be perfect. I think they gave up on it after 2 weeks. Like the one thing I told the guys when I came to them this year is we're going to be perfect. We owe it to ourselves to be perfect this season, so let's go out there and do it. And you know, I think that's one thing that stuck with them. Like we're looking at it like we're not going to lose anything this season. We refuse to let ourselves let that happen. Like the only people that can beat us, in my opinion, this entire season is going to be us. We're the only team that can beat us. Like if we do some really stupid stuff or lose full, that gives a team another chance to step in and capitalize on that. We got to make sure that we're extremely composed 24/7, and we don't let any of that outside noise get into our team. Just keep it silent in there. And if we do that, yeah, I mean, we're probably just gonna keep steamrolling. Like, I don't see it. I mean, no teams have stayed like together long enough to even compete with us. Like, even Bid said it. Maybe if teams stuck together, they could take a map off Western Grand Finals. Because like no one's even managed to do that yet. Like Dante and them came close. They're up 2-0 in the control, man. They were sniffing their first map, and out of nowhere, Carlos and Tom just started going crazy.
Composure.
And next thing you know, it's 3-2.
Yeah,
Oh,
you guys still flawless in control and a flawless season so far. So I'm really
you better
excited.
knock on some wood, Brody. Saying that, you better knock on some wood right
My
now,
guess
bro.
is some wood, I'm sorry, man.
Oh well, you better go slam the wall then, man.
Look, I am really excited to see what you guys are able to do this season, and look, it's just going to be amazing, right? Challengers Elite. There's no doubt in my mind that you qualify for Challengers Elite for a while. I don't think if anybody would be stupid to bet otherwise.
Oh my
And
word, that's gonna be our warm up right there.
yeah,
We're going to be playing the T32 seed, and then we're going to be playing the next low seed possible
Top
to
16,
qualify
right?
for the elite. Yeah, it'd probably be like the T16 team. Like it's going to be like a normal like Saturday for us in a tournament. Like, I'm confident.
Mhm.
Yeah, you guys should be absolutely, and I don't blame you for being confident whatsoever. But that's going to do it for this podcast. Do you guys have any closing remarks for Bloody Amateurs 4?
Just started.
Just
getting started.
Just getting started. I mean, not even warmed up yet.
We're at like 60% right now. So tune back in 2 months when we're at 100%, and tell us what you think of the product then.
I'm excited, man. We'll definitely keep an eye on you guys as the season does progress, of course. So there's going to be a lot of challenges coverage this season from official sources with the CDL and, of course, from us here on our community streams as well. Thank you guys so much for coming on this week to the Bloody Amateurs podcast. It's been a pleasure having you guys on, so thank you. Of course, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Of course, as always, this podcast will be on my YouTube channel. Well, you might even be watching it on my YouTube channel, actually. But if you're not, it will go live on my YouTube channel tomorrow. And if you do want to watch this live, it will be every Monday at basically whatever time I can get people to come on. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to episode 4 of the Bloody Amateurs podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.